And you are live, is what the screen says. Welcome to the Caring Caregiver Show. Aloha. I'm your host, Savvy Makalena, founder of Give Me a Break, a nonprofit organization that's caring for caregivers just like you and just like me. It's a nonprofit organization, of course, bringing back the joy of caregiving. And each week we help caregivers to survive. Did you know that 50% of all caregivers will not survive? They will not survive the caregiving journey and they will pass before the ones that they are caring for. You're at high risk, caregivers, and it's time that we started acting that way. And we need to preserve ourselves, find our balance, and get through as survivors and then thrive in our mission for life. So that's really what we're here for. That's what it's all about. That's what Give Me a Break is all about. So get that support that you need. Go to our website, gab808.org. And if you have any specific questions, you can always text us at 808-754-3787 or just drop an email. I know email is the new snail mail, but I do still check my email, info@gab808.org. Just the bottom line is get here, be here, and get the support that you need because we're here for you. Now, we also offer breaks. We also offer you a break every Tuesday, and I have to switch that. There you go. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time and at 8 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. You can go online and Zoom in and connect with a community of caregivers just like you. And that's, if you're like Central Daylight Time, that's like 7 p.m. So if you're in California, I think that's around, what is that? The 2 o'clock one comes in at around 5 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. So join us. It's a great time for you to be able to connect with caregivers, and we really create a safe space for you. That's what our sessions are all about. We do learn, we do share, and it's definitely connecting to community. So you need it, do it. And there we are. You do is go to your Zoom app, open it up, and type in meeting ID 808-754-3787. Sound familiar? That's our phone number. So if you remember that phone number, you'll be able to get onto our Zoom. All right. The Caring Caregiver Show is sponsored by Givers Guides Magazine. Givers Guides Magazine is the only magazine written out there for caregivers. It's for caregivers by caregivers from a caregiver's point of view. So our June issue is out. We're celebrating Men's Health Awareness Month. And of course, with Men's Health, about 45% of all caregivers are guys. And you guys are out there doing an amazing job. We want to honor that. And so this whole issue is actually dedicated to you. We share caregiver stories, ways for you to be able to cope with what you're dealing with. A great article about having to take care of someone with dementia, as well as 38 ways to relieve stress in just 10 minutes, because caregivers do not have an hour of time. So 5-10 minutes, we can do anything, right? All right. So remember that that's what we do. Givers Guides. And I didn't switch to that. There we go. You can get your subscription to that. That's giversguides.com. Check it out. All profits are donated to Give Me a Break. So it's a benefit for you, and that you get the articles, you get all of the activities, you get all of the resources right there in the palm of your hand, literally on your phone, on your tablet. And then Give Me a Break gets to continue doing what we do. So thank you for that. And it is episode 3 of season 12. Every season and every episode, I am truly honored to bring to you all of the resources that can help you through your caregiving journey. I was just in a conversation with someone the other day talking about this, and she was saying, "Gosh, I wish I had, I wish I knew this when I was in the beginning when I was caregiving for my dad." And I said, "I wish I had it too." And that's why we do it, so that another caregiver will not have to be alone, will not have to go without a resource, or will not have to have community. And we're here to tie all that together. And trust me, you don't want to miss a single show. So let's get on with it. And I'll stop you. My first guest And I'm just double checking right now. Yes, my first guest is logged in. So don't worry, I'll be bringing you on camera soon. And while you're in that green room back there, by the way, please enjoy all the snacks and drinks that are available to you in your refrigerator. And if you are running around without any clothes on, know that very soon you'll need to throw on that jacket. And we'll be bringing you on. So welcome to all my guests who are back there enjoying our wonderful virtual green room. Okay, so my first guest wrote a book with 8 laws to accelerate financial freedom. I know, doesn't that, we don't talk about this enough, caregivers. And we talked about this last night in our session because one of the questions I asked all of our caregivers was if you could talk to your pre caregiver self, what are some of the things you would warn them about? What are some of the things you would tell them that you would have to deal with? And a big one was finance. It was a big one. It came up and it hit hard. So I'm telling you, this guy is here for us today. He's a leader in home care industry and the founder of Breakaway Home Care. Aloha, Aaron Markham. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Great to be here, Savvy. It's
Wonderful. I'm so
an
glad you got
honor.
that jacket on in time. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Yeah, I have no pants, but I have a jacket.
That's okay. See, and you notice I didn't mention the pants
Yeah,
because
yeah,
when we're
that's
virtual, we
optional.
could literally be pantsless and it doesn't matter. So, caregivers most times run around without pants anyway.
That's
So,
right. That's
or
right.
with somebody else's in our hand. But welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on today and talk to you. And of
Great to be
course,
here.
like I ask every guest, please share your caregiving story
Yeah,
and part of your journey and how you got to be where you are today. So,
yeah. Mine's probably fairly non-traditional with some other guests because before I got into the home care space 22 years ago, my wife and I we met at college, and she got involved in the elder hostel programs where they work with seniors who come on campus and take them around. And I was the driver, right? I was the one taking them around, and she was committed to volunteering in senior centers. So I was kind of her sidekick, to start. But that's when I started realizing I loved working with seniors and loved that population. So fast forward 5 years, I started my home care agency at the age of 28 years old and grew it to be one of the largest in the region. And it was in Salt Lake City. And so I have been in the home care, taking care of seniors in need of care for the last 22 years. Ironically, in 2019, it was hard. My grandpa is my best friend. He needed care, and I was only grandson that lived close by, literally minutes away. And my
wow.
parents had moved away and for a couple of years, and so for solid 2 years right before he passed away, my wife and I were his kind of caretakers and primary caregivers. And so it was several years after I started my own care before I really had that intimate relationship with caregiving. But I've been involved this entire time and started a research firm on helping raise the standards of care, Home Care Pulse,
Awesome.
which I believe has changed the course of home care nationwide, which I'm pretty proud of. Later on, wrote that book for entrepreneurs, but it's agnostic. Like how we thrive and how we create financial freedom is, and the rest of that subtitle is accelerating financial freedom while creating the good life. Like let's financial freedom by itself doesn't lead us to happiness, right? So there's so much to
Yeah, I
it.
actually
Yeah,
have
there
that
you
right
go.
here. There it is. The
Yeah,
entrepreneurs 8 laws to accelerate finance while creating a good life. There you go, folks.
yeah,
It's right there on screen. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And never discount any
Thank
caregiving
you.
that we do. Literally, when we caregive in any capacity,
Yeah,
every person in a caregiving journey is integral. Is such an important
yeah.
part of the success of that and the survival of that. So
Early
everything,
on, I was the
yeah,
caregiver. Like I didn't have enough
yeah,
caregivers. We wouldn't staff, so I'd go out there and
you were out
provide the
there doing it.
care. I did that for a long time. So I've been the caregiver for sure, and it's hard. I
Yes.
realized then that I'd never want to be short staffed again. It's a hard job. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and I know you have your book, and I know it's really important, and I know everyone's going to want to definitely read that, and you can give us a couple pointers. But and there's so much that we can talk to you about, so I have to try to stay on track
yeah,
too. But
yeah,
yes, raising the standard was something you just talked about, and I kind of want to deviate for a second because when you talk about raising the standard, I think that that's something that hits a lot of caregivers too, because we all end up having to get care because we all cannot do it by ourselves. And
mhm,
in one way or another, we have to get some kind of home care or facility care. And when you say raising the standard, how did you do that? Because that's, I think, a big fear for everyone is that they're getting subpar care, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
how
So when I had my,
explain that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I first identified the need of raising the standard when I had my first home care agency. And I was seeing, I mean, I was really like for myself, I had these people out in the field and I didn't have cameras everywhere. I didn't know, how they were delivering. So there had to be a way to motivate a home care provider, intrinsically motivate. Like, motivation by itself is not enough,
Yeah.
but find a way to help them and encourage them to take it to the next level. And so what we created, for lack of a better term, we created kind of the JD Powers of home care, where we started out with
I
the
love that.
satisfaction surveys, or we were calling. I created a whole call center, um, staffed it with. I actually I found a community that had a lot of different speaking different languages. They knew a lot of languages, and a university actually in Idaho, of all places, that specialized in all these different languages and had a lot of people, a lot of staff there. They all served this 2-year mission anyway. They had just that different mindset, could talk to people, and so they were doing the surveys, finding out how the care was, and then we tied the performance to awards for the home care providers. And so we created what's called Best of Home Care. And so by tying their satisfaction surveys, the calls that we were making, asking the questions of either the one receiving the care, but if they have dementia, obviously that's not possible. So we often, I would say 70% of the time, talking to family members on how the care was being received, and they would rate the agency and all of those things. And that was the kind of the first thing we started. We did other things after that to really help elevate the care.
I love
Now
that.
working with 4,000 home care providers. There's a website called bestofhomecare.com that you can actually put in your zip code and find quality care that way. And that's what I started. So it's
I
kind of
love
cool,
that.
like the impact, the ripple effect.
Bestofhomecare.com, you guys. I mean, that's
Yeah,
awesome. And I
yeah,
love that because you're rewarding the caregiver, right? And a lot of times, even care workers are just sort of expected. I've actually had somebody say, why would you pamper a care worker? They get paid to do what they do.
yeah,
My answer is always that I'm sorry, they still go through the same mental stress and like any job,
yeah,
right? They
yeah,
still
they do.
and in fact, they put their hearts out a little bit more than some people because they really care about what they're doing and they internalize
Yeah,
a lot. So I love
yeah,
that you set up a reward system for that. That's amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. It was, these owners of these home care providers. I was on a podcast earlier today, and we just talked about how much I love these people. Like, these are the salt of the earth,
Yeah.
typically have either a nursing background or some sort of background. They wear their emotions on their sleeves. They really care about people.
Yeah.
And so, but they also are running a business, and there's a lot of moving parts. And so by helping reward the right behavior is what we try to focus on, then they also know, okay, where do I need to focus on with quality care? If they're getting feedback that the supervisor is talking down to one of the care professionals, then they need to make a change.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to give them information they otherwise wouldn't have so they can make changes in their home care agency that they want to make, they just aren't aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are really good people.
Yeah, we have to preserve, we need retention,
Yeah.
especially in care workers, and we really have to preserve that heart of why they do what they do, because
Mhm.
years from now there won't be enough. We're already suffering shortages, and so that's great to be able to have that feedback so that they can retain, especially the good ones. You don't want to lose them
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
you have somebody who doesn't appreciate what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
a caregiver already feels unappreciated. Goodness knows you got to up that ante a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, so I love that. I love that you created that standard, and
And
that
also
you
measuring,
do it.
we actually started measuring employee or caregiver satisfaction for these agencies. So the
Oh,
caregivers actually had a say in how the agency treated them.
I
And,
love
and
that.
so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good. So everybody has to kind of hold to that standard, and
Hmm.
that's it. That puts the onus on everyone, right?
Yeah,
And it's focused on success. It's not focused on catching somebody doing something wrong. It's really
right.
focused on, everyone succeeding and being better for it. So I love that it's actually better's in the title. I love that. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
a great thing. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm no longer involved, just full transparency. I exited that company in 2020, but I wouldn't be, I'm just so proud of what they've accomplished and what they
Yes. And
continue
so
to
what
do.
are you doing now? Tell us about
Yeah.
what you're doing right
I
now.
wrote the book, as we talked about,
Yes.
but I went back and I got a master's degree in positive psychology. With the full focus of doing that is to help home care providers create more positive cultures in their organizations. And I've also expanded that. I've worked with trucking companies. I've worked with others. When they find out what my background is, they're like, hey, can you help us? Because so much of it is, I mean, we're people. We
Right.
have a lot of the same needs and human connection, those kinds of things. But my focus has always been home care and helping home care providers create better cultures, which improves the quality of care in the home. I think of my grandpa all the time, when I think about who I want to really target and who I really want to help. So positive psychology is the science of well-being, is the proactive side of psychology, where we're just really trying to dig deep into why do some people thrive and why do some people don't.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to study under Martin Seligman, the top psychologist of the last decade, very well-known psychologist, and at UPenn. And then I've applied that in the book. And also now I have a whole platform called the Breakaway Accelerator platform for home care providers that help them break away from where they are today to a new and brighter future for themselves, for their team members, for their clients. So it's a kind of a whole holistic program, very unique.
I love that.
So
I
that's what
love
I've been
that
up
word.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite words, holistic. That's
Holistic.
right.
There you
Love
go.
it. Yep. I love that approach to almost everything,
Yeah.
because I really think that you cannot just laser focus in on one thing. If you're doing that, then you're missing so much. And so, okay. So this is an applied positive psychology. So what's let's do a quick example of how you can turn something into a positive, right? So
Yeah.
what's a big negative that you can say is one of the easiest things you can tell someone to
Yeah.
turn it into a positive?
Yeah. So, and this would apply to a family caregiver, I think, really well, is that optimists, we get this kind of negative connotation towards an optimist, thinking they're just kind of this like they always see
No,
flowers
no,
and they all,
yeah.
and they're just oblivious to what's
Everything's
going on.
wonderful.
Yeah. Well, that's not the case. And optimists, it's a good thing, because here's an optimist. Optimists see things as temporary. Pessimists, they see things as permanent. It's a real simple defined definition, and that you can be an optimist and still be a realist. You can still see things like, yeah, this is a temporary setback, and here are the realities of that temporary setback. My mom just fell. She's got to go into the hospital. But an optimist is going to say, but we're going to get through this. I'm going to get help. We're going to reach out to those people who can help us. A pessimist might see that more as permanent, which paralyzed. When we see things as permanent, it paralyzes our decisions. We're not going to reach out to get help. We're not going to go be proactive in that sense because we're not going to be able to solve
Yep.
this problem. And so that would be the first thing I tell people all the time is let's look at things as temporary setback. We've got this. We can figure this out. We're going to get over this hump and find the resources that are going to help us get to the next level.
I love that. Move that mountain one pebble at a time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that because that mountain's just temporary.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And most things are. Now, like
Yep.
COVID, I think a lot of people struggled because they thought it's the end. Like this is it,
That's
right?
it. We're all
And
gonna die.
yes, yes. And it's a permanent situation.
Yeah.
So if we just change our mindset and our thinking about how we look at that, and then the other thing with positive psychology is that our past is usually based upon the way we frame it. Like we make up our past and how we look at our past and what's happened and experiences that we've had.
We remember
And
what we want.
we remember what we want or what serves our purpose at
Yeah.
that given moment. And so I try to help people reframe their past so it helps create a more positive future.
Oh, I love
It
that.
doesn't hold them back from the future. For example, I in ninth grade I was bullied. I was like kids in my PE class would hit my legs and bruise my legs, and at the time it was just debilitating, right? And anyway, for several years after that, I looked at that. I had friends back then. It was just that PE class. I don't know. I was just a target. And I looked at that as a real negative thing, but I started reframing that as a resilience builder. Like that really built a lot of resilience in me and made me stronger. And now I look at it. I had a guy in that PE class, strongest guy in the class, stick up for me. And he's like, if you guys bug him again, I will beat on you. And after that, the bullying stopped. And so I look back at that and I smile. I'm like, that guy, his name was John John. I wish I could find him. Uh,
Yeah.
but he, I just look at it differently now as an absolute pivotal time in my life when I could look at it as a real negative thing. And so how we frame it is so
Yep.
important, you
Yeah.
know?
Everything's perspective.
Yeah.
Everything's perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because caregivers, and I know this, right? I know everything's perspective. I know you can't heal from every trauma. I realize I know all these things. And when I got
Mhm.
into caregiving, I got so just blackness, right? So
Mm.
dark and so isolated and so
Yeah.
caught up in it that you forget all of that. So I love that you're putting those reminders out there. And I love that you're incorporating that with caregiving and
Mhm.
caregivers. And that's super important. Um, so, what do you have to offer caregivers? Let's talk about that
Yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
want to. You and I will talk the whole hour, and I know I have another guest waiting, so
Yeah.
I can easily get caught up
Yeah.
talking
Well,
with you.
more yeah. I mean, obviously go to like for family caregivers, what I could offer is more of advice is that I have seen in 22 years of being very intimately involved on the front lines with caregiving is that I have seen more family caregivers actually pass away, die before the ones that they're caring for. In fact, my very first client, is exactly what happened back in 2002. And
See the statistic, Doug. Gosh,
yeah, and it's concerning. There is help. There's state driven programs, Medicaid waiver programs. If you need some income help or some help paying for it, where these home care providers are tied to it, veteran assistance programs that can help. Private pay obviously is always a great way to go if
yeah.
you can swing that.
Well, they need to
Um,
read your book first. Yes.
yeah, they need to read the book. Bestofhomecare.com is a great resource. There's other websites out there. There's several franchise organizations that provide this type of care, but get the help. Is like I just say, there is help out there because the best thing you can do is be the family member and not the family caregiver. I know that sometimes that's just not possible, but
Right.
even respite. like get a
Yeah.
break, get some help. That would be my advice. And yeah, get the book,
Yeah.
because that book is agnostic. You really, especially if you own your own business, it's very
Yeah.
applicable. But even if you don't, there's clarity, there's grit, there's all kinds of great laws, the 8 laws that actually help you create the good life. Aristotle called it the good life, the complete life, regardless of circumstance. And if your circumstance is family caregiving right now, you're overwhelmed by it, there's
Yeah.
ways to get around that and create the good life regardless of that situation.
I love that. Thank you, Erin, and thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing with us today. And I really appreciate you being on. So www. I'm going to say this correctly. Entrathrive, right?
Entrethrive, like entrepreneur.
Entrethrive, as
Yeah,
an
entrethrive.
entrepreneur, Entrethrive, ENTRE, thrive.com. You can get a hold of Aaron. He is a font of assistance for you and information. And gosh, get the book so we can at least pay for all the things that we need and be in the moment. But I have really appreciated not only having you on the show, but meeting and talking with you. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Aaron.
Same.
I appreciate your
Happy.
time
It's been a
and for
pleasure.
sharing. Awesome.
Thanks for
Aloha.
having me. All
All
right.
right.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Yeah, we just talked about that last night too, you guys. And those of you who were on our session last night, the support group that we do. And I really don't like to call it a group, it's really just a community of caregivers. But we all talked about that and how important it is to be in that moment and to be able to have those memories and not be so caught up in caregiving because you can't get those back. And those are the ones I think I regret the most is when I didn't have those moments and with mom and especially with my dad. So thank you, Aaron, and for all that you do and for sharing with us today. And again, great information. If you need more information about that, you missed that website, just let me know. You guys know how to get in touch with me or drop something in the chat or contact us at info@gab808.org and we will definitely get you the information you need. Okay, quick announcement. By the way, have an event coming up, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that. And that is the Tech Savvy Teens event coming up this June 29th at the Windward Mall in Kaneohe. And it's going to be from 10 to 2. So this is the Tech Savvy Teens event that we're partnering with Kupuna Power, Tech Savvy Teens, and Give Me a Break to do this event. There will be some great resources there, but this is really focused on Tech Savvy Teens. And I'm going to have Wendy on the show next week. She'll tell you all about Tech Savvy Teens, but I'll just briefly tell you that it's an event where you can bring all your devices, bring the kupuna in. Those of you who are struggling with your devices, and these teens have been trained to help you, and they're amazing. And they will sit with you one-on-one and help you get through. If you do anything, all of my senior kupuna that are in our community that want to get on, that keep bugging me to have an in-person session and can't get online, I want you all there at Windward Mall on Saturday, the 29th, because they're going to help you download the Zoom app. And they're going to get you on so that you can be talking on your phone right there with a bunch of caregivers just like you and join our sessions. So get there. That's coming up, and we'll talk about it more next week as well. But definitely get there. The 29th, not this Saturday now, you guys, the following Saturday at Kaneohe at Windward Mall, 10 to 2. Also coming up is going to be our Shine a Light for Caregivers charity walk. That is going to be next month. And I'll be talking like crazy about this one over the next few weeks because I am so excited. It's going to be at Magic Island during sunset, you guys. Just the photos alone that you're going to get are going to be amazing. It's only 1 month away. If you haven't registered for this, if you haven't signed up for the walk, you need to, because the first 100 to register are going to get a backpack, a reflective backpack, but also you're going to get your glow stick, right? So you want to get your glow stick. So be one of the first 100 to register and get signed up for the walk. And also you can help us, by raising funds, right? We can help us by getting pledges, and I can give you all the information you need about that. Also, we are putting a challenge out there to every team that can form. Any team of 3 or more, form a team, get together, and the best dressed team is going to win a pamper session for up to 20 people. So that's exciting. And you want to get your team together. So companies, Girl Scout, Boy Scout troops, churches, BNI. So Marilyn knows I'm talking to her. Get a team together and dress up, get crazy. It's our time to do that. You'll see some samples there on the poster that I have up. But if you're that best dressed group, boy, you're going to win, and you're going to get a pamper session for up to 20 people. That's, by the way, the pamper session, that's aromatherapy, massage, meditation, some balancing, and just all around time for you. You're going to get educated on how to take care of yourself, and you're going to feel amazing. So, what a wonderful opportunity to do that. Just that alone, do the walk. Get 3 friends together and be a group. Don't even do it by yourself. Get 3 or more, makes a group. Okay. So that's coming up. We're really excited about it. Go to our website, gab808.org, on the screen again there for you, and go click on that button to sign up. Get registered now. Don't even miss that opportunity. All right. So our next guest is a very, very wonderful person, dear friend of mine, and also our newest board member for Give Me a Break. So I'm really excited to have her here. She's an independent promoter of a very interesting product. So please welcome Marilyn Lemaire. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi,
I'm so
Angela.
excited to have you here to talk about frequence.
Me too. And I
Frequency,
just
right?
want to highlight again the 2 events. I will be at both events at Windward Mall and Magic Island. So please, please come see us. I'm super
Yes, I'm
thrilled
so
for this.
excited. I'm
Yes.
super excited. Now, I don't even know. I didn't even think about whether or not all of us from Give Me a Break, and if we should be like dressed alike too. Maybe we have to come up with a theme as well. I kind of like the whole flamingo inner tube thing. I kind of like that. but but I'm also very, very inclined to do a lot of balloons and stuff too. I don't know, it could just be craziness, or maybe we just all wear our tiaras. I don't know. So
I
we'll
love it.
definitely have to come up with something. Oh. But now, again, let's get back and focus here. So Marilyn, I know you have a caregiving story. You want to share that with us, please?
Yeah. So basically, whether it's a child or a parent, I found out, gosh, when my son was in elementary, that he was diagnosed autism level 1 with ADHD, and just having that extra like support and knowing that really made a difference. Up until then, it was just like, what's happening? He wasn't really talking or progressing and things like that. And he would have meltdowns. I every like we didn't really take him out very much. If I took him out, he would cover his ears when he flushed the toilet in public places. It was just very challenging. And so just being aware, when I met you, Savvy, and you gave me that statistic, like 50% of caregivers don't outlive the people they're caring for, that really touched my heart. And I was like, how can I help? How can I be of service? Right. And just lock arms with you and the Give Me a Break community, to where it's not selfish being selfish.
No, it's
We
not.
need to put
It's
on our oxygen mask on first so we can
Yes.
serve.
It's so important to be balanced and to survive that journey. Now, moms are also our very first caregivers, and most times moms don't outlive their child, right? However, when you're a mom with a child that has some sort of an illness or a disease, or there are a lot of moms out there who are outliving their children who have cancer. Did you know there's childhood dementia, and you're dealing with autism, and what happens when you leave before the child? Who's going to take care of them? There's so many things that you don't always think about. So that statistic really helps us to keep focused on what's important. And what's important is that we survive and thrive for as long as possible, and that our lives don't become a drudgery, and that we do get those memories, and we do have that time, and that we do thrive even after and help others and continue on. And so I think that's super important. So your story is the story that many out there know all very well. Yeah. And so because of that, speaking of thriving, this is why I brought you on today, because I want you to talk about this very interesting product that you have. Tell
Yeah.
us about frequency.
Well, let me
Frequency.
just tell you a little backstory on what happened for me last year. Ended a 20-year relationship. And then 2 months later, my business coach passed away, and I was just not in a good place. I was like laying in bed, my kids were eating. I made sure they were kept alive.
Right.
However, I'm just like not in a good place where I understand where sometimes caregivers can be, right? We're not taking care of ourselves. We're grieving relationships, you know, deaths, things like that. So, um, when I found Frequence, I was not in a great place. And it is frequency infused, 11 harmonic frequencies infused in health and wellness products. And so I was like, I'm open to anything. One of my best friends started the company, and I was like, let me just try it out. And then after about 3 months, I noticed, after speaking with a friend, she's like, my daughter just told me I'm nicer. And I was like, that's amazing. And so when I reflected on myself and how I have been the past 3 months, over the 3 months, I was like, I'm able to get out of bed now. I feel like I have a spark and purpose again in my life. And so just praying about it, I was like, okay, this, like, how good I feel now. Like, how can I help educate people about they can feel good too? Just bringing our bodies back to the frequency that it's meant to. Everything is frequency, energy, and vibration.
Yep.
So that's, like, it's been so heartwarming just to help people, just to see them be able to transform. Even myself, like, people are telling me I look lighter, brighter, and I'm just really thrilled because this is something that is on my heart. My grandmother and my mother and myself and my son, we all had different forms of um, just not feeling our best, right?
Yeah.
So how can I just be a support out there and just
Yeah.
have people like know that, okay, there is something, or just educating people like at our pamper sessions. How can you put yourself first? What are you doing every day to
Right.
put yourself first and fill up your cup first?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the idea of frequency, because I mean, and there are a lot of things that people, you guys can get a picture of this, right? For instance, right now it's really big is these sound bowls, right? And because these sound bowls, they work on our frequency, right? It's like we're all electrical impulses, and we have that running through our bodies. And so here's a product where you don't have to lie in a dark room and listen to someone play a bowl. That's a great thing, by the way. I love that, but you can't always be in a situation where somebody is doing a sound bowl. So this is kind of like that in a package, right?
Yeah, and it's something that I do every single day. I my kids also, I'm just really thankful on being able
Yeah.
to see them and their lives, their bodies are shifting as well.
Right. And in
I
a
love.
time when you guys have just come out of this turmoil, still going through this turmoil, where families break up, and that happens. But being able to bring them through it healthy and happy and stable, wow. Right. So now, is this something that I plug into me? Like, do I plug it into my ears, or do I plug it into my, hands? What is this? It's frequency. So tell me about it.
Yeah, so Barb and Dave, my very good friends, they enrolled the gentleman who was putting frequency on their jewelry to create a chamber that puts frequency on health and wellness products. So how cool is that? And so they have 6 different products, ranging from nootropics for our brain, mental clarity, focus, creativity, to detoxing our bodies, to pain relief, and face creams. Just I'm just really thankful to a nighttime collagen, so I know I can sleep and just have that, my body repairing itself with the collagen every night. So it's just been amazing.
Yeah, that explains your skin. Your skin is just glowing, right? And I love that. So some are applied and are others taken internally?
Yep, both. Mm-hmm. There's a few of
Great.
them. Yeah.
Wow, that's really exciting. I really want our all of our listeners to be able to benefit from something like that. So, you guys, if you need to get in touch with Marilyn, just contact us. If you need more information, you can look at frequence.com, and that's frequennsc.com. But of course, if you want to find out more information and find out how you can align your frequencies, contact Marilyn. Just get a hold of us through info@gab808.org, and we will definitely put you in touch with Marilyn, or drop it in the chat. And boy, you're on like every social media too, aren't you?
I was gonna say, yes, I'm on every social media, Marilyn Lemaire. Please find me. And I also do have a free guide on how energy and frequency can shape your life. And I give practical tips for boosting personal energy and wellness. And you can go to riseandvibe.me for that one.
Oh, I love that. And also, guys, go on TikTok. She's on TikTok. I see her all the time, and she's always going live. So she's got some great tips to get you through the day. And definitely check her out on social media. That's a wonderful way to do that. Did I miss anything? Was there anything else you needed to share with us today?
No, I just really appreciate that. My heart is to help encourage other people and encourage myself. So whatever encourages me throughout the day, I do my best to share it with other people as well. So that's why every day you'll see something from me.
Yes, I love that. And I look forward to them. And I am honored to have you in my life, and definitely to have you sharing with Give Me a Break and all other caregivers and all that you do. So thank you so much for your kind heart and for sharing with us today about frequency and your product, frequence.com. Check it out, you guys, and go on your social media right now. You'll find her. Just type in Marilyn Lemmer. She's there, and you'll be able to get some great tips and inspiration, if anything. I know that because it always comes from your heart. So thank you, Marilyn.
Mahalo.
Aloha. All righty. Yay. There we go. Wow. What a show. What a show. Oh, my goodness. I really want to thank all of my guests today. And of course, thank you, Marilyn. And thank you, Aaron, for your wonderful knowledge. And know that the show is brought to you by Give Me a Break. And it is sponsored by Givers Guides online magazine. So again, get your subscription and keep those subscriptions coming. We need all we can get. And the Caring Caregiver Show really is all about connecting caregivers with resources and with community. If I can show it to you here, then you can see the person, meet the person, and know that every single one of these are vetted. No one's out to rip you off. These are actual people. You're not talking to a robot. This isn't AI. And so you'll be able to know you have someone to turn to. No caregiver should ever feel like there's no one out there for you. We have a whole community of people out there for you. We have a whole community of caregivers, and you're not alone. We're going to survive this journey. Your wellness is the main thing, the main focus, and you're going to survive it. Season 12 is all about that. It's filled with all these amazing resources for you. You don't want to miss a single show. Next week, Sarah Cart will be on, and she'll be talking about what she wishes she knew before her experience of caregiving, as well as tips for protecting your mental health and coping with, listen to this, folks, caregiver PTSD. That's right. Caregiver PTSD. She's also the author of her book, On My Way Back to You, and she'll talk all about that. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Wendy Dockrub of Tech Savvy Teens will be on, and she'll be talking about the e-Kupuna event coming up next week, Saturday, not this coming, but the following. So put a calendar reminder on your phones right now for these events, but also for the Caring Caregiver Show. Comes to you live every Wednesday at noon, Hawaii Standard Time. Make sure you put a tickler there so that it goes off and reminds you to watch us live. And don't worry if you missed us live. If you're watching us on a social media, just go scroll back and find it. You can always see the lives on our YouTube channel. And in about a week, it'll be available on podcast. So, and thank you, by the way. We keep hitting milestones with our podcast downloads. So I know you're listening, and thank you for all the comments that you're sending to me. I really appreciate that. And by the way, hey, let me know if there's someone you know out in the community that you want on the show, or more information you need about something. I'll have them on. Let me know. Drop it in the chat. Let me know because you're all commenting on the podcasts, or go and definitely get on our YouTube station, our YouTube channel, and please subscribe and follow us, because the more subscribers we can get, you know how that works, you guys. We can get up there and get out to more people that can see us and know we're here for them. All right. So here we are, the Caring Caregiver Show. Oh, and by the way, also you'll see on, I think, Facebook, I posted that we're reruns are showing on Olelo TV 53. So thank you, and mahalo to Olelo for supporting us and for supporting caregivers. Whatever you do, you guys, just stay connected. Just keep on checking our Facebook and keep on checking our website, and definitely go watch our YouTube channel. In the meantime, though, just remember to breathe. It's one of the greatest things you can do, is just take a deep breath. And sometimes you may need 3 or 4. And here's hoping that you're finding more joy in your caregiving every week. And of course, right here on the Caring Caregiver Show. Thanks for tuning in. And please always be kind to yourself and to all those who care. Aloha, everyone. See you next week. Aloha.